afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, all my NB friends. You are tuned to Metro Arts on KGNU. My name is Aston. I am a board of directors for Sacred Voices. Sacred Voices is a nonprofit organization based in Denver, Colorado. We provide poetry and spoken word workshops for youth in our community and the community at large. We host an open mic on the fourth Friday of every month. Currently, that is being done virtually. If you are interested in seeing our open mic, the next one will be 2 weeks from today. Today is April 9th. The next one will be on April 23rd, and that will be at 6:30 p.m. on our Facebook page. Today with me, I have Tabitha, who is a member of our board of directors. How are you doing, Tabitha?
I am doing wonderful.
That's
How are
great.
you and y'all and everybody out there? Hopefully y'all are good. You know, yes.
Things are getting better out there, I think. People are generally getting a bit happier now that things are looking up with the vaccine and things are opening up a bit more out there.
Right.
So yeah, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? The name that I have for you on your Zoom call is Tabitha Sarai Baht Israel. Am I pronouncing that right?
That is absolutely right. Tabitha Sarai Bot Israel. All right, let me tell you about Tabitha Sarai Bot Israel. I actually know a lot about her. I'm just kidding. I'm talking about myself in the third person. That is weird. Um, I'm a very animated person. I am 26 years old. And with that, comes a certain level of experience. I am a person of color. I identify with the indigenous and Black community. And those are my peoples, so to speak, Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, very tight knitted with that community. Um, I am actually a University of Colorado graduate. I graduated with a degree in political science. And I also went to community college at the Community College of Aurora, woo woo. And I got my associates there also in political science. And with that being said, I'm very politically sound, politically woke. And as you guys know, I am on the board of directors for Sacred Voices. I have been a member of different nonprofit organizations in Denver, which would be, Make a Chess Move. Shout out to Philip Douglas. And I have also been a member of It Takes a Village, which is also a nonprofit that focuses on people of color infected or impacted by STDs and STDs specifically as HIV and AIDS. And it's a community. It's something that we need in our community. We need sexual education, which we really don't get in school. We just are taught how to put a condom on a banana, and that's about it. I'm not here to give y'all a sex lesson. I'm just saying. That's a little bit about me.
Sure, yeah, that's great. I know that you also work sometimes with Israel United in Christ. Is that correct?
Yes, I am a member of Israel United in Christ.
And I believe that also ties into your name a little bit. Sarai Bot Israel as well. You
Yeah,
are an Israelite, am I correct in that?
you're absolutely right.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So, I guess I could talk about how I came to the knowledge of the Israelite community. I was actually attending the University of Colorado Denver, and I ran into someone at this color blindness talk that people were just having with people, and this lady, she was like, "I don't see color. I'm colorblind." Well, she is a so-called, Caucasian woman. And I'm just like, okay, so when you say you don't see, I'll just go off on her to make it sure. I'm gonna try to, stay calm as I say this because it boiled me up inside. I'm like, when you say you don't see color, you're saying you don't see mass incarceration, you don't see the history and the impact that slavery has had on a wide variety of people. You don't see how history has been changed. Our people, like Native Americans, they probably know that some of them don't know that they have ties to slavery, that they were enslaved here. The Trail of Tears, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Like that is a reality for those people out there on those reservations. But people that whose family has left the reservation, they have lost touch to their history and who they are. And same thing with Hispanics. They went through slavery. They don't want to recognize that either. We all have this colonialized mindset. So when I went off on this lady, that was what I had. That's what I was speaking from. But I ended up meeting this girl. Her name is Janice Israel. And she was like, did you know you're like, this woman, I don't remember her name. I think her name was Faith or something. She was like, you guys, cause I was going by Jewish at the time. She was like, you're Jewish and you're an Israelite. You guys should talk. And cause we're both people of color and we're both like we're activists. And she ended up inviting me to the school, to learn. She was like, you're an Israelite, you're not Jewish. And I was like, I'm not Jewish. What are you saying? So how you gonna tell me? But I went there, right? And they I can't even say I was taught about Deuteronomy 28 in the Bible. And I've never, me being an Old Testament thumper with the whole Judaism thing, I never read Deuteronomy 28. And Deuteronomy 28 is prophecy that black people will be taken on slave ships and sold onto another race of people, and that there'll be no might in their hands. Their kids will be taken from them. Will be cursed in the city, cursed in the field. There was segregation laws. A whole bunch of stuff that was going on. And so, like digging deeper into it, everything that has been said, like I always thought, the Bible, there's just a bunch of stories, with no historical context. But then when I actually started to learn about my role and who I am according to the Bible, and thinking about the stuff I've been through in life and having that tie to slavery, I lived in Alabama for 6 years. Like those people, when I say we are poverty stricken in the South, there's still slave huts that people are living in. So that reality is something that made it hit. And like, I just realized ain't changing because we're not keeping the commandments. That's what it is. And God is pissed. And everybody's like, God is love. God loves everybody. And it's because like, if God loves everybody, he sure isn't showing me a lot of love right now, according to my situation. And I had to realize God doesn't love everybody. And that's just kind of what made me feel special. Like knowing that somebody loves me enough to punish me. It's because you love me that you're punishing me because I don't want to listen to you. When your parents say, don't run in the street, and you run in the street, they're going to tear your ass up because you ran in the street and you didn't listen. So I'm like, you told me not to eat pork. I ate pork. Now you're tearing me up health-wise. We have the highest levels of cholesterol, diabetes, all this stuff because of the things that we eat. And the Bible tells us how we should do our diet. There's a dietary law in the Old Testament. I didn't even know that. And I was Jewish, you know what I'm saying? I know I wasn't supposed to eat pork, but I didn't know anything about shrimp, shellfish, and stuff like that. So it's a lot. So how I ended up, I legally changed my name. I don't even go by the name. Everybody who knows me from when I was who I was before, I don't even let them call me by my old name. That name shall not be named because I'm not that person anymore.
Sure.
I just change my whole everything.
That's great. I have worked with you on the board of directors for Sacred Voices, but I've never taken the time to hear that story. So thank you for sharing that with us here.
It's deep.
Yeah. So identifying and being an Israelite, my understanding is that not a lot of people or not everybody, I should say, is accepting of that, or some people have preconceived notions of that. Have you faced any challenges being that?
Yes. Well, one, I don't know if you know what the Southern Poverty Law, SPLC, Southern Poverty Law, they have the organization and a lot of Israelite organizations labeled as hate groups. And, I don't hate I can't say that I personally hate anyone, I just know that I have to keep the laws and I'm doing what I got to do so that I can not be mad, so God won't be mad at me anymore. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of discrimination towards Israelites. I remember I went to a barber shop that I went to go get I used to go there all the time to get my hair braided. And I came in with, because I wear fringes. That's a commandment also that, the Israelites are supposed to wear fringes. And so I went into this place, and this guy he's a black man, by the way. He tells me, "Oh, I thought you were like a black white girl. I thought you were like a Oreo, and you were up in here with fringes on, so you quote unquote woke as F and all this stuff." And then because like different black people have different um we have different ideologies based on our beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Christians are super like, they claim to be Bible thumping, but they call us legalists. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing though. He was an Egyptologist. And so he's saying that all of our history is rooted in Egypt, and how like if I want to learn anything, I need to learn at linguistics, which means like I need to study words that are in Hebrew and learn Hebrew and all this other stuff. I speak English. English is my first language. I'm not going to call Jesus Christ or whoever they call him, Elohim, all these different names. I'm not calling him Yahweh, Shai, Bim, something, 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 because I don't speak that language. I speak English. So I'm going to stick to the translation. So there's like people that have these different ideologies that they try to force on you because you identify as being an Israelite, rather than focusing on, living that lifestyle, because that's what it is. It's your nationality, is who you are. They nitpick at you for not doing X, Y, and Z, rather than focusing on the end goal of what you're doing.
Right, right. That makes sense. And it's kind of a tale as old as time, involving all of the Abrahamic religions and Christianity and Judaism and Islam. Just all of these conflicts and wars that have happened between different religions and different peoples, when there's a lot that can be focused on the shared beliefs and the things that unite people. So, like you were saying, it's good not to, I don't hate anyone either. And I think it's important for everybody to internalize that and focus on the positive things instead of trying to increase these divisions between people, especially nowadays.
Right, but I do believe so. But since we touched on, separating people, I believe like people say that, we're all in this together. But at the end of the day, I was in this group on, I don't know if you know about the app Clubhouse, but there was this room that said, should white people use their privilege to help black people? And I'm gonna be honest, no one can use their privilege to help black people. Black people have to help black people. So in that sense, I'm a separatist. I believe that in order for us to get right, we have to heal ourselves. There's a lot of healing that needs to happen in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. And I don't think that the same people that are oppressing us can be the ones to help us heal from the trauma that they've inflicted on us for over 400 years. You know what I'm saying? And so there's like healing that we need to do towards one another. We hate each other. How can we depend on someone else externally that hates us also to heal? It just does not make sense. There's no way you could be an oppressor and a savior at the same time, because we all have a preference. You know what I'm saying? One thing that works for me, if I say, okay, I want to reinstitute segregation, there's going to be some white people that are like, oh, but no. There are certain things that we can learn from each other, when in reality, this is what I want and this is what my group of people want. But you have your own ideologies and ideas of how we could make this thing work, when I have my own idea of how we can make this thing work. Because since segregation ended, our reading rates and our graduation rates are down. We're not doing too well since integration has happened. And that's just a whole nother topic, but that's just an example of the whole we all in this together High School Musical dance
Yeah,
and pull
yeah,
up and, you know.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, the world is not quite so black and white, and we can't all just be around a campfire singing "Kumbaya." There's got to be some work to be done as well. Um,
Exactly.
so I appreciate your perspective there. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your poetry?
Poetry. So I've been doing open mics since I was in community college. I wrote poetry in high school, but it was only because there was a guy that I was interested in that liked poetry. And so what we would do is because we didn't really talk in person at school because there was like a there was like a I don't even know how to get into that. But we didn't talk to each other at school, but we would write poetry to each other online. And like I would read his poetry, write him a poem. Then he would read my poetry and write me a poem. And it was extra. So,
Well, that's great. And so you recently performed at our last open mic in March, and I have a clip here. If you'd like, I can share that with our audience.
I would
Um,
love that.
all right, so here is a poem from Tabitha Sarai Baht Israel. Enjoy.
Okay. So this poem is called Only You Know How I Feel About Church. So I was never supposed to wait for you. You were not a bus, nor taxi, or other means of transportation. Though I allowed him to believe that he grazed over me like the lips of a pastor looking for Christ, like rehabilitation from the demons that he himself released into me, giving me a demon to call my own, leaving me demented for what felt like an eternity, but realistically, only 10 months. But this was not his first time hearing me like this, hearing my voice crack, seeing the reddening of my eyes, feeling my tears thump against wooden floors, tasting copper pennies, and smelling innocence fade. Perfume. He gave me perfume to mask my shame. Everyone tells me how nice it is, but little did they know he wasn't. It's my birthday, and he has thrown me a surprise party. I'm happy, better yet, ecstatic, because I am 12, and I didn't expect it. He has invited everyone from church, including Pastor Martine. I remember it like last Sunday. We celebrated a day early. I lost me early. I was numb, very early, but back to the party. Pastor Martine brought wine. For the first time, I felt my head spin like a bottle right before the kissing game. It's Sunday. Pastor Martine gives a sermon about chastity, filling me with apathy, telling me that my sins are after me. I had 12 candles. It's Sunday. He tells the congregation, bring something that resembles your pain to leave at the altar. After church, he asked me why I'm not wearing the perfume. I close my eyes. I see him behind my eyelids, his salt pepper hair. And behind my eyelids, I still smell his fragrance, loud enough to make my eyes water. I'm at the altar, and I've already fallen into a hole so small and deep that a fireman without a spine couldn't get me. But it's Sunday. He took the cherry off top. I'm hurting, but no one sees me. They just see a 12-year-old that doesn't want to go to church. But it's 12 now. But it's 12 now. Pastor Martin calls me into his office. My parents don't question it. This lesson gets harder and harder to understand because when you're 12, you want to run around and play, but you never asked to play this game. You never asked to have hands on you. You never asked to have this man on you because you're 12. It's Sunday. You're 26. You don't celebrate birthdays anymore. You don't go to church anymore. You found something more holy. You found yourself when you were lowly. No need to pretend or act as if your pain never existed, but instead to recognize and confront that demon in the mirror. No longer having to, no longer having the need to appear perfect like the upper class interior, something some seeming to be well put together, but broken. I'm no longer afraid to sleep because I have finally awoken. Sweet and bitter, like the Most High wrote it, I'm no longer catching bodies and ghosts, but I'm hanging on every word that my forefathers wrote. I wasn't called, but I was chosen. Chosen to live with nightmares and pain. Chosen to understand that I am not the same. Chosen to know that at the last will reign. Chosen to see I have a lot to lose, but I have a lot to gain. And chosen to walk down that narrow lane. It's Sunday, and I'll never see the world the same. I had 12 candles, but now I have oil and love to contain.
And if you were just joining us, that was Tabitha Sarai Baht Israel sharing a poem at Sacred Voices' previous virtual open mic night. And I have Tabitha with me here. So that was a very powerful poem that we just heard from you. Is there anything that you would like to say about it to the folks listening at home?
That poem took me, like, I would say I began it 2 years ago and then I finished it recently because, as you could probably hear in the poem, the beginning was very, like, emotional and tied to my past and like things that took me a while to get over and overcome. And then it's like, now I'm 26 and I've realized that, all this stuff that was happening to me is just I don't know, I'm just a new person. So it's just like, realizing, the truth and who I am and knowing that I'm chosen to deal with everything that I've gone through, chosen to understand that there's something greater behind that, chosen to, know that everything's gonna be all right at the end of the day. So that's it. It's I try to leave it on a happy note because sometimes people will leave it very sad, like an Ellen Hopkins book, and you just feel destroyed.
Right, yeah. It's good to leave on that uplifting note, especially for uh, difficult topics. But yeah, for me personally, with my artistic endeavors, I'm a musician, and I'll end up the same way, where I'll write a song like 60% of one, and then finish it 5 years later or something, because it just it turns out that way sometimes.
I definitely feel you on that because I write music also. And with writing music, I am like a processor music writer. So it takes I have two songs that I have begun that I am yet to finish because one of the songs it took me forever to come up with the chorus. So at this point it's just kind of like, okay, I have verse one, now I have a hook. So it's like a hook at the beginning, verse, hook in the middle, verse. I still need the verse and the hook at the end. So it's just like, it's a little stressful and I become overwhelmed by songwriting sometimes.
Yeah, and I think any sort of artistic thing that you create, everybody has a different process involved with that. Some people um, at our open mics, even they can come up and perform a poem on the spot that they're making it up as they go. They improv it, and some people like you and me, it can take a while from beginning to end how those things come about.
Yeah, honestly, I know somebody that's really good at doing that, and he's a master freestyle. He's a master freestyler. Me, I like to have thought, but not saying that there's a thought behind, people doing it that way. But I feel like the delivery is different when you take time to think it through rather than just doing it right there on the spot and that's your finished product. I think there's like when you do it, when you have a process, there's a you can tell that there was a lot of thought that went into it. I don't know. There's a show called Songland, highly recommended, where songwriters present songs to artists and they give them feedback as artists themselves in like mainstream media. And it's a really good show. Highly recommended for the songwriters out there.
Oh, very interesting. So, bringing it back to poetry, one of the things that you do for Sacred Voices is you facilitate workshops for poetry.
Mm-hmm.
So, how has when you look at some of the students and the way that they're writing and the way that you're trying to influence their writing in the future, how has that been for you? What have you noticed? Some of your stories there.
So I feel like sometimes the cliches of writing poetry, especially with the younger generation, Generation Zers, and I don't even know what the generation after that is called, but they write their poetry according to cliches. The last one I did, I think it was like third graders, or maybe they were fourth graders. I don't even know. It's one of those two. But there was a lot of roses are reds and violets are blues, and it's just kind of like those are the cliches of poetry. And even though I gave them advice on, straying away from those cliches in order to write a good poetry piece, a lot of them still kept that cliche authenticity, and then they tried to flip it to make it more impactful with the way that they delivered their poetry. And I was really proud of them. I watched their open mic like twice. And I'm just like, these kids, I think, because they're so young, I try to show them poetry that shows like the different perspectives or like different perspectives. And a lot of them, it seems like they have that, kumbaya feeling of seeing the way that they see life because they're so young. They don't really know, what's out there. They haven't experienced much. And the people that I've worked with thus far are young people, like really young people. I still think it's a beautiful thing though. I still think it's a beautiful thing because, I think to have that foundation of writing anyway, roses are red and violets are blue will turn into something else later down the line. It's just getting that cycle of learning how to write and being continual with it and continue to practice makes perfect. So eventually we're gonna have a whole bunch of spoken word artists out here if they keep it up.
Well, that is the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Hmm.
Have a new generation of artists. Um, why don't you give I'll give you a moment to plug yourself. Where can people find you? What are you up to nowadays? All of that stuff.
So nowadays, I'm really involved with my organization, really about to bring in the Passover. So well, y'all can't see it, but Austin can see it. My house has decorations up right now. Where you can find me is I guess you can find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/lovely rocks with the X at the end. I have Instagram. It's beauteous.gad. That's my Instagram. And I want to get a SoundCloud, you guys. I'm just dragging my feet. I have a studio at my house. I don't know what's going on with that, but one day I'll stop being a procrastinator.
We'll look to that to the future. Thank you for joining us. Once again, my name is Aston. I am a board of directors member as well as Tabitha for Sacred Voices. You can learn more about Sacred Voices at our website, sacred-voices.org. Tomorrow, we are actually doing an in-person workshop at 4 Mile Historic Park. If you are interested in learning more about that, you can visit 4 Mile Park's website at 4milepark.org. As well as that, we are having our monthly open mic on April 23rd. That is 2 weeks from today, and that will be on Facebook, our Facebook page, facebook.com/Sacred Voices Denver. Well, once again, we have been talking with Tabitha Sarai Baht Israel. Thank you once again for joining me today.
No problem.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I will see you all next time.